Okay, let's consider a movement phase. So the main thing you want to do in movement phase is move your units, not that unsurprising really. So I've got a stack here. I've got an infantry brigade with 3 movement points. I've got some French tanks with 8 movement points and they're tracked. And I've got a cavalry division with 5 movement points. Well, not cavalry division, sorry, cavalry brigade. They're also French. And they want to move. Okay, so what we do is we look at the terrain effects chart. Terrain effects, you've got all your different types of terrain listed. You've got how much movement it takes, and you've got movement for tracked vehicles, trucked vehicles or wheeled vehicles, and leg, which is anything which is, infantry basically. You also have combat effects for the different types of terrain, and generally it classes things as open or close, etc. But we'll worry about that in the section on combat. So, we're out in the desert in this sort of scenario setup this example I'm using, and we've got roads. Some games, like Burma, these will change depending on whether the ground is muddy or not, and they have more complicated tables, but here it's quite simple. And a road is just half a movement point. So, here's our stack of units. They're in a valley, there's a road. We want to move that way up the valley, and maybe we want to attack this guy at the top of it, who's just a Japanese unit from Burma I've thrown in for this example. So, maybe we want to move further, so we can flip our units over to move mode. And they get a lot more movement, that's a huge amount more movement. And it jumps up to 14 from 3 movement. But it turns black, which means it's now this unit has got into its trucks, because it's a black movement number, not a white one. So we'll flip those 2 units over to move mode, I think. So we have 14 movement on that one, 10 movement on that, and 16 movement on that. Now, the tracked and truck units need to spend supply to move. So I've created a supply dump here just by dumping some supply tokens, and they need to spend 1 token per unit to move. I explained in the token explanation there's a few different ways of doing this, but here we're going to keep it simple. So we're just going to burn 2 tokens to move our 2 units, and they can move up to 16. And it's half movement for each spot on the road, or 1 if they want to move across the desert. So that would cost them 1 movement point. But they're going to move 1 and a half. Now there's a unit here after they moved 1.5 movement points. I put this here to talk about overrun. So most combat's done in the combat phase, but you can do what's called overruns in the movement phase, and you can do as many of these as you like. And in simple terms, you spend 3 movement points and you can attack a unit. And if you knock it out the way, you can keep moving. So that allows us quickly to move on to the combat sequence.